Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing a quick recap of the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic between USC and Tulane. Tulane ended up winning the game by a score of 46-45 at the very end. They scored, they kicked the extra point to take the lead. I believe there's only a couple seconds left, like 10 seconds, 9 or 10 seconds left for USC on the final drive. And that ended the game. Looking back, this game was really lost by USC on the defensive side of the ball. They were up pretty much all game. I mean, going into the fourth quarter, they were winning. They were winning going into the third quarter as well. They blew multiple leads. They blew a lot of opportunities to blow this game open and ultimately put Tulane away, but they failed to do so. With that being said, USC's offense looked just like a Lincoln Riley offense. Caleb Williams, 462 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, and just the 1 interception down in the red zone. But the player of the game was Tulane running back Tyjae Spears, 17 carries, 205 yards, 12 yards per carry, and a total of 4 touchdowns. He put on an absolute show today. He also had 1 catch for 14 receiving yards. But like I said, this game was lost by USC's defense. There were just multiple occasions. For whatever reason, Alex Grinch, I'm sure many of you know by now, he followed Lincoln Riley from Oklahoma to USC. And Alex Grinch in the defense is probably the main reason USC is not in the playoff. With that being said, they also let them down in this game. But Tulane, you got to give credit where credit's due. Tulane's offense put on an absolute show as well. 539 total yards, 230 through the air, and 300 yards on the ground. They averaged 9 yards per carry, which is absolutely crazy. 9 yards per carry in a New Year's Six bowl game. You rarely ever see that. But like I said, Tyjae Spears, 205 rushing yards. He won the game along with some huge passing plays. Jaquan Jackson, I don't know if I'm saying that right. I apologize if I said it wrong. But he had 1 catch in this game, and it was an 87-yard touchdown. Huge play. Deuce Watts also had another big play, 59 yards. But back to Alex Grinch and this defense. They play a lot of bend, don't break, which, I mean, you see that all the time in college football. A lot of teams run that kind of defense. They don't want to get too aggressive. They're very opportunistic, but when things don't go their way, they're letting up points at a constant rate. That happened yesterday. That's exactly what we saw. A bend, don't break, but there was a lot of breaking going on. USC constantly got pushed back into the red zone. They were constantly on their heels. And if you don't turn the ball over against USC, they're not going to stop you. We've seen that this year. UCLA, going back to that game, UCLA was scoring on them at ease. A lot of yards, a lot of big plays. But UCLA lost by 2 or 3 points simply because Dorian Thompson-Robinson turned it over multiple times. If he doesn't turn it over, they probably score at least a field goal or touchdowns on maybe all of those drives and win the game by 2 possessions. That's really what this game came down to. Tulane not turning it over. Michael Pratt, the quarterback, he did only go 8 for 17, but he had 234 yards, 2 huge touchdowns, but no interceptions. That's the key here. No interceptions, no turnovers. And that was the deciding factor. Now, where does USC go from here? Lincoln Riley has lost his last 3 or 4 bowl games at this point. Or I guess 2020, they did win their bowl game. They played Florida. But 2017, 2018 lost the Rose Bowl. I'm not going to count last year's loss because he left and Bob Stoops coached, and that was the win. That would have been like his only win because back in 2019 in the semifinal, he also got smoked, just like the year before when he lost to Bama in 2018. Remember, that was the Kyler Murray year. The year after, that was Jalen Hurts. He ended up losing both of those. So where does USC go from here? In my opinion, the first thing I'm doing if I'm Lincoln Riley is taking a look at my defensive staff, Alex Grinch down. And when I look at it, I mean, you want to keep the guys that are good recruiters, obviously. Because I don't think Alex Grinch really does a great job recruiting. I think it's more the position coaches from what I see. With that being said, Alex Grinch has to go, right? If I'm a USC fan, I'm begging him to go. You got to keep Dante Williams on board. He's one of the best recruiters out west. He hits California like none other. USC's defensive backs this year too, they were very opportunistic. They led the country in turnovers. And then up in the front seven, Coach Sean Nua, the defensive line coach, he's got to stay on board. I think him and Dante Williams are two solidified guys that you got to keep. There's some other guys that you want to keep as well, but I'm just saying these are probably the top two guys. Lincoln Riley knows they're gonna stay. He wants them to stay on the staff. Sean Nua just coached Tuli Pelotu, and he was the sack leader in the nation. Sean Nua, was a former NFL Super Bowl winning defensive end. He has a lot of coaching experience in the Pac-12 and the Big Ten. Obviously, they're going to the Big Ten here in a couple years, so keeping him on staff is huge. He's also a great recruiter. And you have a young player like Corey Foreman. I guess he's not going to be young next year. He's going to be probably a redshirt junior, redshirt sophomore, class of 2021. Yeah, redshirt sophomore, former 5-star defensive end. USC's hoping he can be like Tuli Pelotu, have a breakout season, 10-plus sacks. That's probably the goal of USC right now. They're going to be losing guys to the NFL. Mekhi Blackman just declared. So going into the offseason, Lincoln Riley definitely has to get the defense fixed, or else we're just not going to see a change. It's going to be the same USC. It's just going to be like Oklahoma, Lincoln Riley, but in a USC uniform, USC hat. Nothing's changed. They finished the year with 3 losses. That's just like what Oklahoma did most years, sometimes 2. They lost to Utah twice, and we saw Utah lose to Penn State. Speaking of that game, you can go check that out. Utah, Penn State recap of the Rose Bowl. But I want to flip it over to Tulane before I end the video. They had the biggest turnaround in FBS history. 2 wins to 12 wins. Absolutely incredible. 10-win difference. I believe Tyjae Spears declared for the draft, and I bet this game changed his draft stock tremendously. NFL teams are definitely watching this game for multiple reasons. A lot of the reasons are for USC players, but Tulane players, they took advantage. They took huge advantage of this game. Dorian Williams for Tulane, 17 tackles. 17 tackles in this game. Lumi Young, he had 10 tackles as well. Williams had 9 solo. So, NFL draft coming up. Tyjae Spears definitely popped off. Gave himself a chance to get drafted higher. And congrats to Tulane on a huge win. Also, thank you guys for watching the video. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.